My phone vibrated at 2:17 a.m. No one could text at 2:17 a.m. I watched the screen light up the dark bedroom ceiling before I even reached for it. Her name, 3 dots. Then the message landed. I'm 8 weeks pregnant. You will pay child support for 18 years. No. Hello. No explanation, just a sentence shaped like a bill. I didn't feel shock first. I felt still like the moment right before glass shatters when it's still technically whole but already ruined. I read it again slowly, every word settling into place like a trap. I'd already escaped. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I didn't argue. Didn't accuse. Didn't ask how. I typed, "Let's talk in person." She replied instantly. "Tomorrow, my place." I set the phone down, lay back, stared at the ceiling, and for the first time in 2 years, I was glad I kept that envelope. She opened the door wearing fake fear. I knew her real fear. I'd seen it before when waiters brought the bill, when her phone battery dropped below 5%, when lies got complicated. This wasn't that. This was performance. Her eyes were red but dry. Shoulder slightly hunched, one hand resting on her stomach like she'd learned it from a movie. "I didn't want to tell you over text," she whispered. "You already did." I nodded like a man trying to process life-changing news. "Played my part." "When did you find out?" I asked quietly. "Last week," she said too fast. "And I'm sure it's mine." Not a question. A demand disguised as vulnerability. I looked around her apartment. Same couch, same framed photos. One new thing, a pair of men's sneakers by the door that weren't mine. I let my gaze pass over them like they didn't matter. Inside, something cold tightened, not rage. Confirmation. She reached for my hand. I let her hold it. Her palm was warm, slightly trembling. "I was scared," she said. "But we'll figure this out together." Together. The word almost made me smile. I squeezed her hand back gently. "Yeah," I said. "We will." I didn't sleep that night either. Not because of panic, because of memory. 2 years ago. A quiet clinic, soft blue walls, a doctor who avoided eye contact. "Your test results came back," he'd said carefully. "You have a condition that makes natural conception extremely unlikely." Extremely unlikely was the kind way to say impossible. I remember walking to my car afterward, sitting in the driver's seat, staring at the steering wheel while the world kept moving like nothing had changed. I never told her, not out of shame, out of observation. I wanted to see who she really was when life didn't hand her a script. Turns out life didn't need to. She wrote her own. The next morning, I pulled the envelope from my desk drawer. Still sealed, still official. I slid it into my jacket pocket like a weapon that didn't make noise. She made tea when I arrived. Domestic, soft, careful. "I've been thinking about names," she said, placing a cup in front of me. "Of course you have." I reached into my jacket slowly, calmly. "Before we talk about the future," I said, "there's something you should see." Her smile flickered, just a little. I placed the envelope on the table between us. She looked at it, then at me. "What's that?" "Open it." Her fingers hesitated, then tore the seal. I watched her eyes move across the page. First confusion, then rereading, then the color drained from her face like someone pulled a plug. What is this?" "My fertility test results," I said evenly. "From 2 years ago." Silence filled the room so completely I could hear the clock in her kitchen. "That's not tests can be wrong," she stammered. "I got a second opinion," I added softly. Same result. Her breathing changed. Shallow, fast. Tears came now. Real ones. I didn't know how to tell you," she whispered. "You just did," I said. She shook her head, words breaking apart. "I made a mistake. I thought it was yours. I swear I thought you told me you were sure." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. "I don't know who the father is," she finally sobbed. There it was. The truth always sounds smaller than the lie. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't stand up dramatically. Didn't call her names. I just leaned back in my chair and looked at her like she was someone I used to know. You weren't scared, I said quietly. You were calculating. She cried harder at that. I would have helped you, I continued. If you told the truth. That part hurt her the most. I saw it land because she knew it was true. Instead, she tried to trap a man she thought would never question the math. She reached across the table, but I stood before she could touch me. I won't be part of this, I said. Calm, final. But I hope you figure out who is. I walked to the door. Behind me, she said my name like it was a life raft already drifting away. I didn't turn around. Outside, the air felt different. Not lighter, sharper, cleaner. I sat in my car for a moment, hands on the wheel, breathing slow, steady, no anger, no victory, just clarity. Some betrayals don't break you. They introduce you to the version of yourself that doesn't need explanations anymore. I started the engine, drove away without checking the rear-view mirror because some chapters don't deserve a last look. And some lies come with their own consequences.